Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be providing a long-term market analysis for XDC. In this video, I'm going to be looking at some weekly moving averages, some key support and resistance levels, the XDC Bitcoin Ratio, as well as my overall thoughts on XDC and the charts into, say, the next few months. So if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, by the way, this channel is partnered with FTX.US. You can check them out in the link in the description below. So the first thing that I want to talk about here with XDC are these two moving averages on the weekly. The red line is a 20-week simple moving average. The green one is a 21 exponential moving average. And throughout the bear market, XDC has rejected off of these levels fairly consistently. You can see that we had this lower high back here in January where we came up to these moving averages, rejected off them around 10 to 11 cents. We formed that lower high and then we rejected, formed lower lows. And then you can see another rejection right here in May. We had another move back up into these moving averages, a rejection at this time 6.5 cents, another leg down followed by lower lows. And currently we're having a move that is getting really close to these moving averages. The first time we're actually starting to have some sort of retest since we rejected off them back earlier on in May. So currently these moving averages range from approximately 3.1 to 3.5 cents. And this is going to be a very key level to watch out for XDC into the next few weeks. If XDC has a retest of these moving averages, look for a reaction. If we start to reject similar to the previous two moves, then that could entail that XDC might have another leg down. It might have a retest of the support levels. If not, if XDC starts to do something like this, where it actually can break back above the moving averages and then start holding them as support, so like this as an illustration, this would be an extremely bullish sign because a move like this has the benefit of getting back above these moving averages and then flipping them as support. Now, when we are talking about these moving averages as support, look back to 2021. Notice how on these dips, we had XDC bouncing off of these moving averages and then continuing higher. You can see that happen several times where every step of the way these moving averages were increasing, XDC came back down to these levels, and then it bounced off them, continued higher. So that is really the benefit of being above these moving averages. And that's exactly what I want to see here going into the next few months. Now, if we don't have something like that again, and we do have a rejection similar to that of May as well as January, then watch out to see if the current support levels can hold. And if not, the next level I'm going to be looking at here on the longer term time frame is going to be this level around 1.8 to 1.9 cents. Now, this was the all-time high back here in 2018. This was the point of resistance where we rejected off of and then entered this bear market. So if we do have a move, another leg down to that area, this is where I would expect support to be held. This is a very strong level of support considering its macro resistance back in the 2018 cycle and considering how this provided resistance for almost 3 years. So now I want to talk about the XDC downtrend that I'm noticing here, which is fairly consistent with these moving averages, but it's just a different step and different way to look at this. We've just basically got this very consistent downtrend where the lower highs are forming off of this trend line. You have basically this first test in August of 2021. That was the first point of resistance on the trend line. Another retest here in January, and then another one here in May. All right, so this trend line currently this week, it's at around 3.7 cents. But if we have a move, say in a few months, it could be all the way at around 2.9, 3 cents. It really does depend on when we test this. I really want to see, in order for XDC to be bullish, just generally starting to break this downward sloping resistance and starting to form a new structure where we're no longer rejecting off of this every few months. Now, considering how we have had 3 rejections so far, there is definitely a higher likelihood that this time around we might have a move that is different where maybe we don't have a pretty strong rejection. And I think a lot of these factors also do depend on Bitcoin, which I think is going to be very important to watch out for here into the next few months as well, considering how close it is to its current lows at around 17.5K. Now, in terms of resistance, another area I'm looking out for on XDC is going to be this zone I've marked in green, ranging from 4.2 to 4.7 cents. Notice how all the way back here in March of 2021, this was a point of resistance, and then later on it was flipped into support in May of 2021, and then from there we started to bounce off of it. Another retest right here in February that led us to this lower high back in May, and then ever since we fell back below it, we haven't really had a retest. So if we do come all the way up to this level, this is another point where we could look to for some sort of supply. So look to see if XDC on the longer term time frame can start to reclaim this. And if XCC does reclaim this zone, then that is another argument to be made for the bullish case, and that's something that I would really look to as evidence for a longer term bottom in place. Now I want to switch over here to the XDC Bitcoin ratio, and really what we've got going on here is this range with the range lows at around 120 satoshis and the range high around 193 satoshis. Now this area around the lows at 120 satoshis has held as support for an extremely long period of time. You can see we've had several retests of this zone throughout February and March. We had some more retests throughout the summer of this year. You can see a lot of candles coming down to this region, holding as support and then continuing to remain above this. So that's a very positive sign to see. And I would look to this level around 193 satoshis as our resistance. That is the range high. That is where we rejected off back here on this move back in May. And that also happens to be the high that we had back in April 2021. That was a point of resistance. We rejected off that. And then later on in August of 2021, you can see we flipped it back into support. So this is a very key level of resistance. And if XDC can continue this trend back up to the range highs, look to see if XDC can break out from here. And if it can, that really does, again, support the bullish case. That would bring a lot of relative strength into the XDC USD pair. And that's a good sign that potentially XDC is going to start to outperform Bitcoin. If not, just consider the fact that we're still in this range bound environment. And the most likely scenario is that we're going to keep oscillating between the support at 120 satoshis and the resistance at around 193 satoshis. So I hope you guys did enjoy the content and the analysis. By the way, make sure to check out our sponsors, ftx.us, in the link in the description below. If you sign up through my referral link in the description below or through my referral code SNOWYCRYPTO, you can get a 5% discount on exchange fees. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.